The school was old in the way that made the air feel heavy, like it remembered things no one else did. Its walls were tall and gray, and the windows were narrow and dark, even during the day. Students said the building had been standing longer than the town itself, and that it was built on land nobody wanted anymore, land where something bad had already happened. But teachers laughed when anyone mentioned it and told them stories like that were childish. I did not believe the stories at first either. I was new to the school and new to the town, and I thought every place probably had rumors like this to scare newcomers. The building creaked when the wind moved through it, and the floors groaned under our footsteps. But that was just age, I told myself, nothing more. The first strange thing happened during my second week. I stayed late after classes ended because I had been assigned detention for arriving late too many times. The classroom was almost empty, only me and a boy named Daniel, who never spoke, and a teacher who graded papers silently. When the clock finally reached the end of detention, the teacher left without saying goodbye, and Daniel had already gone. I packed my bag and stepped into the hallway. The hallway was wrong. The lights were dimmer than usual, and the air felt colder, like the warmth had been drained away. I could hear the sound of lockers faintly rattling, even though no one was there. I started walking toward the exit, but the farther I went, the longer the hallway seemed to stretch, like it was pulling away from me. I stopped and turned around. Behind me, the hallway looked normal, short and familiar, with the classroom door still open and light spilling out onto the floor in front of it. When I turned back around, the long hallway returned, darker and narrower than before. I laughed quietly at myself and kept walking, telling myself I was tired and imagining things. Then I heard footsteps behind me. They were slow and uneven, like someone dragging their feet. I turned around again, expecting to see a teacher or a student, but the hallway behind me was empty. The footsteps stopped the moment I turned back around. This time when I looked forward, there was a door at the end of the hall, a door that had not been there before. It was tall and black and looked older than the rest of the building. The paint was cracked and peeling, and there were deep scratches in the surface, like something had tried to claw its way out. I felt a tightness in my chest, telling me to turn back, but my feet moved on their own, pulling me closer. With every step, the air grew colder, and the lights above me flickered. Some went out entirely, leaving long shadows stretching across the floor. When I reached the door, I noticed there was no handle, just a narrow gap along the edge, like it could be pushed open. I pressed my hand against it. The door was warm, too warm. I pulled my hand back quickly and noticed faint marks on my skin, like fingerprints burned lightly into my palm. They faded after a moment, but the fear did not. A voice whispered my name from the other side of the door. It sounded like a child. It sounded like it was crying. I stepped back, shaking my head, telling myself I was dreaming or losing my mind, and then the bell rang loud and sharp, echoing through the hallway. Everything snapped back to normal. The lights brightened, the door vanished, and students filled the halls, laughing and talking like nothing had happened. I stood there frozen until someone bumped into me and told me to move. That night, I dreamed of the door. In the dream, I stood in front of it again, but this time it opened on its own. Inside was a classroom filled with desks stacked high like a maze. The walls were covered in writing, names, dates, messages begging for help. The smell of chalk and something rotten filled the air, and at the center of the room was a blackboard. Written across it in large, uneven letters was my name. I woke up screaming. The next morning at school, I tried to forget about it, but the feeling followed me like a shadow. In every class, I noticed strange details, things I had never paid attention to before. Scratches on the walls, handprints on the ceilings, lockers that rattled softly even when untouched. During lunch, I asked a girl named Emma about the school rumors. She hesitated before answering and lowered her voice.
She told me there were parts of the school that no longer existed officially. Classrooms, hallways, entire wings that had been sealed off after accidents, fires, disappearances. She said sometimes the building opened them anyway. She asked me if I had seen the door. My blood ran cold. I did not answer her, but she nodded like she already knew. That afternoon, a student went missing. The teacher said he had transferred suddenly, but everyone knew that was a lie. His desk remained empty, his name was still on the attendance sheet, and his locker door was found hanging open, with deep scratches carved into the metal from the inside. After school, I stayed behind again, this time not by choice. As the halls emptied, I felt the same cold air return. The lights dimmed, and the familiar stretching hallway appeared before me. The door was there, waiting, and this time it was open. Inside, I could hear footsteps, many of them, and whispering voices calling my name over and over from the darkness, telling me to come inside.